Welcome to the Building Design Primetime Podcast, focused on providing valuable information for anyone looking to undertake a new build or extension project. We'll share our tips, tricks and stories from a building designer's perspective.
Welcome to the Building Design Primetime Podcast. I'm your host, Amelia, and once again we're joined by Frank Geskis.
Afternoon, Amelia.
Afternoon. We've got a good topic today.
Well, when don't we have a good topic?
Yeah, but I feel like this is going to resonate with a lot of people because we've had so many inquiries come through recently for extensions. And with housing affordability, I think people are looking for cost-effective ways that they can do an extension on their property.
Yep. Oh, totally agree. It's been really interesting. And I suppose one of the questions is, what's the cheapest way to extend?
What is the cheapest way to extend? I mean, that's such an open-ended question. There's so many variables with that.
Oh, totally. It's pretty funny because, cheapest way. Look, I suppose in a nutshell, the KISS principle.
Keep it simple, stupid.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because subject to your house, and there's a lot of variabilities. You've got brick and timber frame, double brick, brick with lightweight cladding. You've got, lots of timber frame. Tassie would do lots and lots of timber frames, but there's all sorts of weird and wonderful things, concrete block and all that. But if you keep the extension really simple, and sometimes it's boring, but just what it is, but sometimes you need a room.
Yes.
And a square rectangle room kind of fits the bill.
Yeah.
Or a big room. So, but there's a few variables. As I say this every time, there's always a variable in it. But if you keep it simple, it's going to be cost effective. Also, there are certain sizes you want to consider because how does it work with carpet broadloom metre, plaster sheets, timber lengths? So if you work on those types of things as well, so I think plaster it's 3.6 metres. I work on 1200 millimetre modules.
Okay.
Or 600, whatever you want to work at. Mm-hmm. Because then you can then work out, standard carpet, standard plaster. The other thing is you want to, whatever that room is going to be used for, if it's just a room, like a bedroom, we're doing one for a client at the moment, super simple, and it allowed us to do a one-bedroom extension, super cheap, timber framed, where they're using a cement sheet cladding because it's on the back of the house, because they're just, like the kids need another bedroom. The kids are all jammed up in all the bedrooms.
Yep.
And we did a simple skillion roof.
Okay.
Now, normally you've got to be careful with that too. The house, the way it's built, allows us to do it very, very easily. So if you're doing extension, the roof is generally can be your most complex area, generally. So if you have got a hip roof, and if you're not familiar with the types of roofs, hips are probably the most common roof all around Australia, where you've got the gutter and fascia that goes all the way around, and then you've got 45-degree bits that come up to the top, and a big straight bit on the top called the ridge.
Yes.
And then it all ties that together. So if you have one of those, it's easy to extend that. If you've got a 2.4 ceiling, 8-foot ceilings, pretty standard. Your door, just imagine your door's 2.1 high, your ceiling should be about 300 mil higher than that. Then you're going to continue with a hip roof. So
yes.
Then it all matches, so your gutter and fascia is the same. To do a skillion roof, like a roof that slopes away off a normal 2400 ceiling, hip roof, your ceiling won't be high enough.
No, it won't work.
It won't work because you need a minimum of 2.4 in habitable rooms under the National Construction Code. So then people go, why don't I slope it the other way? Well, then you end up with a box gutter. And
yes.
Box gutters are expensive.
And they're your favourite thing.
Oh, they're stupid things.
You don't
at times.
Like them.
When you don't need to do it, don't do it.
Yes.
Because eventually they fail and leak. But you guys have all heard me bang on about that enough. So it's all about simplicity to keep the cost down. Also where. So if you're extending off the side, the rear, make sure that there's plenty of room to do it.
Yes.
You go to the boundary, you're going to need a firewall.
Yes.
Because you can't build within 900 mil, in basic terms, 900 mil to your boundary. Be aware that's not necessarily a fence. Because your fence may not have been built on the boundary. Be aware of that.
Or wasn't it that rule where if you're within 6 metres of your shed, That would trigger
that was
bushfire.
Yeah, but that's bushfire. I'm just keeping it really simple here
Okay.
in suburbia.
Sorry, I'm making it complicated.
No, but you're right though. If you're in a bushfire-prone area, yep, it can bite you.
Yeah.
So you remembered that, so it's good. So also depends on the shape of where your boundaries are. Most people extend to the rear, because you might have a driveway up the side.
Yes.
Extend to the front, but then you've got setback issues with planning. So if you don't have to go for planning, you don't have to pay for that fee.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I'm sad to say 95% of everything we do needs
I was going to
planning.
say, nearly everything needs a permit, doesn't it?
Oh, it's a crock. Anyway, that's another discussion.
Another soapbox moment.
Yes, too many of those. That was a quick step up and get down. So going side, front, rear, all do setbacks, keep away from your boundaries, as I said. Another one people ask is, how about going up? Building on
It'd be
top.
really expensive, surely.
Oh, it's really expensive. 20 years ago, we used to do heaps of them.
Yeah.
But the safety factors were a little bit loosey-goosey back then. So where the scaffolding and all the rest of it wasn't quite as strict. It's still an effective way to do it if you've got the coin to do it. But also the downside of an upper story extension is putting a staircase in, which is pretty handy to get up there.
Yeah.
So, but it takes
You need to get up there.
On a standard ceiling height and floor thickness, you're going to need 4 metres by 2 metres gap for the stair to fit in. So that's 2/3 of your bedroom.
Yes.
So you've lose space on top and bottom, but it has to be done. So if we're talking bang for your buck, go out the side, the rear, the front, if you're allowed. So that's the best place to extend. Also, if you're going to extend, line up with the existing building. So if the back of your house is 7 metres wide, try and go 7 metres wide, because then the roof is nice and simple. It's the same roof.
Yes.
Don't have a change of direction in your ridge. So just keep it super simple. You might have a gable. Oh man, they're nice and easy to extend as long as you match the width
would
of the
be.
walls.
Yes.
Gable is like same as a hip, but just flat ends on it. If you have a skillion roof, depending on the direction you're coming from, it's easy to do. So sometimes it's even easier. But I'd need to sketch something to show you how to do that. But there's means and ways, and this is where a design architect can show you what's the most cost-effective way of doing it. Now, the other side of it is your design of application. So it's from design to application for building and plumbing.
Yes.
What is the cost to value? Now, that sounds weird, but if you're doing just one bedroom, let's just say,
Yes.
3.5 by 3.5 metre bedroom, the cost to do the building drawings, the site measure, potentially a survey, planning approval, sad to say, there might be some other ridiculous report we have to do, then you've got to do construction drawings, engineering, plumbing approval, building approval, permit authority, pay the government a few bucks and all the rest of it. The cost of that operation
Just for one bedroom?
for one bedroom might not be worth your while. It's not great value.
No. By the time you pay for all the fees.
Oh, it's like, but that's everyone, us, everyone.
Yes.
And we've been through the last time we spoke about, what's actually involved in the cost. So I always ask, is there anything you want to do in the future? Because, hey, you might want to put a carport up, or I want to put a deck and pergola, I want an outdoor barbie with a roof over, I want to put a shed in the back. There may be stuff you're thinking about, right? And I think sheds and carports are a really good example. Some need permits, some don't. We've discussed that. But say if you want to get this done, add the shed in the same permit.
Makes sense.
But it doesn't mean you have to build it straight away.
No, that's right.
So you apply for your extension, but I've got my shed, I've got my carport, I've got a deck that I want to do, but it's going to be down the track, but I've got the permits. And that means you extend your building permit, it might cost you $400 in 2 years' time to extend it, so that you've got time to do it, to save up the money for it. So try and bulk it together to make all these costs that you have to pay anyway.
Yes, down the track.
Doesn't cost a lot more, just add these into it.
Yes.
I've had it with some clients where they just want to do an ensuite off the side, and it's the same thing.
Yeah, you can think en-suites generally are not that big.
No, they're not. But then you pay for this from design to application. Well, how's that value added up? So the cost of that ensuite, or the ensuite inside the box, might cost you, I don't know, $20,000, $30,000, depending how you fit it out. The shell itself might cost you $30,000. This is $60,000. This just as a figure. Yet you spend 12 to 15,000 bucks on all these
Fees.
drawings, fees, consultants, and all the rest of it. It doesn't quite add up the value.
No, it doesn't.
You know, so consider doing additional stuff with it, whatever, if that's even viable. So it's bang for your buck. So keep it simple. Try and work with the building that you have. The roof's really important to get that right to match what you have. And the basics of the house is, the extension, your floor, your frame, your cladding, isn't going to change a lot. It's going to match your house.
Yes.
It's going to cost what it costs. That's usually your baseline core of the house. If you're adding a living area, obviously it might be a bit bigger.
Yes.
And normally have a deck that comes off it.
Generally, yes.
Yep. So, again, simple is good. Stick to stock standard window sizes.
Yeah, that's a really good one, actually.
Because you go to all these window manufacturers, they've got all these stock sizes and you can get prices on those straight away. They know what they are. No, don't go custom windows. Keep it simple. Subject to the design of your house.
Yes.
Because sometimes your house requires to have some custom windows so it doesn't look like a dog's breakfast on the back of the house.
Yes.
So,
yes.
But most houses, your project homes should be pretty easy to do. Other ways to do extensions is, al frescos are pretty popular, right?
Yeah, they are.
Infill the al fresco.
Yes.
Because a lot of times the slabs that have been put in, you just need to put a topping slab in and the design structure, the roof's already holding there. It's pretty simple to do.
That would save a bit of cost too.
Yeah, a lot of cost. So there's things like that when you need that little bit of extra space. Don't ever put a box gutter in if you can help it, as I said before. So those are kind of those rules. Just keep it really simple. Then you could ask, well, I think someone else asked, is it cheaper to convert an existing space? And I said like an al fresco is a good one.
Yes.
If the al fresco's got the roof that matches the house and the slab underneath is as per the house, or if it's a timber deck, you can't do it. Timber decks you can't convert to floors generally.
Oh, okay. Is that because it's not structurally...
Designed for a deck.
Yeah, true, it is.
Not designed for the wall loads. The floor load's fine, but the walls may not be designed for that purpose.
Yes.
So there's means and ways around that. But then, can I convert a garage?
We've had that discussion before too.
Yeah, and if it's built as part of the house and the footings are the same, hopefully it's insulated. That's your key problem.
Yes.
So they don't insulate the garage. I personally would insulate my garage if I'm building the house. It's going to cost peanuts to do.
Yeah, and I know how much time you would probably spend in the garage.
Maybe. So then your biggest challenge there is your front door. So your roller door, because it's got a splay, there's no water break.
Yes.
So then you've got to put in a flashing, or you cut the concrete, put a rebate in and things like that. But it's very doable.
Yeah, okay.
So that's a good way to get space. But now your cars are outside in the rain.
Or you've got to build a carport.
Build another carport.
Yeah.
But then it might not allow you with the setbacks. But look, there's all means and ways of doing that. One of my favourites, people ask us, I've got a big roof space. Build up in the roof space.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and it is interesting because in some houses it can work really, really well.
So I guess not all of them would have minimum height standard. Yeah. Is it 2.4?
Yeah, 2.4.
Yep.
But just think if you're in a roof and it slopes off the sides.
Yes.
It might be 2.4 in the middle.
Oh, but it wouldn't be at the sides.
Yeah, so there is a rule under the NCC where you've got to have 2/3 at that minimum height. Then you work out the averages. So it can be done that way. But the big thing people forget when you walk in there, go, right, got about, 2.6 metres to there and that. Okay, cool. The problem is we've got to fit the insulation in. And
that's a good point.
Plus an air gap. So air can flow through the roof and get out. So you can take your moisture out of the roof.
Yes.
And we've spoken about that. So then a minimum you're going to need 50 mil for the air gap, 210 mil for a bat, but you can get smaller ones, but on your basic bats. So then that space you thought you had kind of reduced by a fair bit.
Yeah.
And guess what? The ceiling joists, that are over your rooms, they're not good to walk on.
So they've got to be
upgraded,
re-engineered.
So you've got to put a new floor in, and then you've lost, there's another 300 mil there, 300 mil there. Oh, I'm down to 1.8
yes.
metres, so I don't have enough space. And that's probably been the most common thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, be aware, this is only on pitched roof homes.
Obviously not, yeah.
Trusses you can't because there's bits of timber everywhere.
Yes.
So a lot more difficult. So also to extend off a trussed roof home is very difficult too.
Okay.
Because as soon as you cut the trusses, it all falls to pieces. The roof, the ceiling, it doesn't hold. They're an intricate piece. Whereas the old school ceiling joists, they're separate timber. Rafters, separate timbers. Collar ties, props, they're all under purlins. They're all separate bits of timber. And it can all be modified to suit or extensions and whatnot in space. But there's nothing wrong upgrading for a bit of storage up there though.
Yeah.
Upgrade the floor. Put a floor in, upgrade it, and gives you extra storage space, and put an attic ladder in.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad idea.
Because we've never got a space for our junk.
Christmas trees, all of those. Suitcases.
Naughty children. Oh, maybe not.
Oh, you might get into trouble for that one.
Yeah, might do. But just putting extra storage space.
Yeah, good idea.
So, yeah, there is space. We've seen it we've designed it with trusses. We tell the truss manufacturer, hey, we want to have some space in there, and they design a cutout, and they can put a couple of sheets of flooring in there and put a bit of storage in.
Yes.
So that's planning that out.
Even, I guess, the standard sizes of your fit-outs. So, like, I'm sure they would have standard sizings for, say, wardrobes or vanities or bench tops or that sort of thing, cupboards.
That makes a very good point. You need to check with your joiner there, don't you?
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly right. You're not... Yeah, like you can buy vanities off the shelf, the joiners, but it's also the tops. We had one made and it was cheaper than buying one when we upgraded our vanity. It was hung off the wall, nice setup.
Yep.
We just chose the bowl and the tap.
Yes.
They fitted everything else off and it was great.
Nice.
So, yeah, work with the space that you have. So also, we talk about bang for your buck, the cheapest way to extend. If you're extending your living areas, somehow I think you're going to do a kitchen upgrade.
Generally.
Yeah. Mm. And that's been an interesting one. Kitchens have evolved massively over the last 10 to 15 years.
Oh, they have.
And the cost of some of the stuff that people are speccing is really out there. So you can still get a very good value and quality kitchen, depending on your appliances, your tap fittings, your drawers, and you've got secret drawers and all sorts of stuff. It's amazing. But if you keep it simple, you can actually get a reasonable kitchen. But you're not going to have stone tops.
No.
And to be fair, your Laminex, your
Polytech?
Thank you. Polytech and those manufacturers, they've got magnificent surfaces. Just one tip. Don't go for high gloss tops.
Oh, they scratch really easily.
And glare and all the rest of it. Yes. I still like the old school, a bit old school, the orange peel.
Oh, yes, the Laminex.
Yeah, the Laminex, but I think Polytech got them as well.
Yeah.
But it lasts so much longer. It can handle the scratches. It can handle your kids.
Yes.
And compared to the smooth finishes, I find they really can wear pretty badly sometimes over a long time. So, yeah, really look at what's available out there and also the quality of what you buy too. Some of the quality of doors and the tops they might be cheap.
Yes.
But the quality may not be there.
Yeah, and I guess that's what you've got to weigh up, the cost versus the longevity of the product.
Oh, for sure. And sometimes the glues fail and stuff, but if you go to a reputable joiner, they will fix it.
Yes.
And your builder will back you up on that as well. So we've spoken about roof lines, about extending the different types, but sometimes you want to do a pergola.
Yes.
There's plenty of options there. Again, if you want a decent roof over your outdoor space, it's simple shapes. A lot of time when people go treated pine, what hasn't been considered here in Tassie much is using one of the Bondor products, and I believe there's other manufacturers as well, the initial living roof systems or the pergola roof systems, and they're a solid panel.
Okay.
And they clear span between the bearer supports or your veranda beams, and they look really neat as well, easy to clean, hit it with a hose, all that. Treated pine, all looks fine, but, looks a bit agricultural at times.
Yeah.
But this could be a good option for people as well.
Yeah.
A simple build. If it's a simple build, it should be cheaper to build.
Yes, that's what you would hope.
Yeah, and we talk about you keep everything simple. It should be easy to build. Oh, one thing you got to consider when you're extending is when you extend, there's a lot of double handling.
That's true.
You know, so you're going into the side of the house or whatever. You've got to cut the cladding out. The frames have to connect. The roofs have to connect. You've got to keep it watertight. You know, especially in winter here in Tassie. Mind you, up north have been getting so much rain as well, haven't they? So, but then how the claddings tie together, and they do a bit of work. They've got to cover it up again. But also restricted to get into backyards or on the side of the house. It's
yes.
hard. In some cases, it's really hard to get in there. They struggle to get a small digger in, you know, what I call keyhole construction, because it feels like you're just trying to get it through a keyhole out the side of a house and try and get the materials backwards and forth and all that. And it's expensive because you're paying for labour to do that.
Yes, it takes more time.
It takes a lot more time. It's a lot more messy. And then trying to work around and wrecking your backyard because you're walking over the grass half the time, so you've got to redo all your grass. So keeping it watertight, but also if it's an extension, hopefully get the roof right, that they actually break through between the extension and the house is the last thing they do. Put the door in, resheet it, replaster it, tidy it up, paint it.
Yes. And I guess the other important thing too, if you're building from scratch and then later wanting to do an extension,
yes,
have a chat to your building design at that first stage and say, look, down the track we're looking to do X, Y, Z to extend, and then they can make provisions for that.
Yeah, position of hallways, doors, that type of stuff.
Yes, to make it easier for when that extension comes around.
Exactly. Thinking about, so a lot of the times we have to cut through robes or lose part of a bedroom to actually extend through for extensions. So that's a really good point, because that plans for the future. If you intend to be there for a while,
yeah,
you know, and then, hey, you might need the extra space. Yeah. Same with allowing for a double garage. So if you're on a budget, you're building a brand new house, one of the first things you probably drop off is your garage or your carport.
Yeah.
From a budgetary point of view.
Yeah.
Because I need the house. I wish the cars are, you know, I'd like to have that, but it's like 36, 40 square metres of essentially house.
Yes.
But can I afford that in my build?
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Leave it off, but at least have the provision for this. So there's a door there for you to go through, so you don't have to cut one in later.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You know, and it could be coming straight off the laundry.
Yes.
Whatever, depending on how the design is done. So it's just thinking ahead of that. There's no shame not putting a part on because you can't afford it. You're better off trying to pay down most of your good chunk of your house before you do that.
That's right.
You know, so just those types of things to consider. One thing that really I find is customers don't research products enough, and we bang on about this all the time. So if you're extending, if you really want to save money, do research on what do you want to line it in, what do you want to carpet, what type of door handles, what type of doors. And I know this sounds all petty little things, but it's the fit out that costs you so much. The base build itself, the walls, the floors, the roof, you can't change that cost a huge amount.
No.
Except for your external cladding and potentially go for high performance windows. And you may not even need that. Your designer and working with a thermal assessor will tell you that. But if you're able to do lots of research, especially on, like kitchens and bathrooms are your biggest thing. They are your most wet areas. Kitchens are the most expensive areas of the house.
Yes.
So be wise and smart. Talk to designers. Most builders have their own joiners they prefer to use, and you sit down with them and says, look, I've only got X amount of dollars. What do we do? So you don't choose an undermount bench sink.
Yes.
You don't choose $1,000 tap.
Yes.
You know, you're not going to potentially go for a, 1,200 wide induction cooktop by some big brand name. You're going to pick what you can afford, okay? Because you always need to have money in your pocket for surprises. Because when you do extensions,
you need a contingency.
Oh, massively so. More so than a new house. I always recommend 15%. What happens if you find that, gee, your electrical isn't quite
up
right?
To scratch.
Well, your mains board needs replacing.
Yeah, yeah.
Or,
maybe you want to add stuff and it just can't fit on the circuit that you have.
Or alternatively, I've seen it where they went to install an extra heater in. You haven't got enough juice.
Yeah, yeah.
You've got to get a mains upgrade.
Yes.
Ouch. Oh, that hurts. And you've got to upgrade the board. Double whammy.
Not cheap
and you
at
don't
all.
know that.
No.
Only a quality Sparky will be able to tell you that by doing their assessment.
Yes.
There's all sorts of surprises. I had it with my own house my first house I renovated, and I found that they had Galvo pipes. It was really old, had Galvo pipes through it, and the plumber said, I'm not dealing with this. I need to replace it, and I had to replace all with copper pipe at the time.
Yeah.
You don't know what you can't see.
No. I know we had floor levels out by about 20 mil when we had our kitchen done.
Yep.
So
then the toe base, the bit at the bottom that holds all the cabinetry, there's a lot of work getting that right.
Has to be adjusted, yeah.
And a good joiner can fit off makes it look amazing.
Yes.
To the rest of us, we'd hack it up and it looks terrible.
Yes.
That's why they invented quads, quad timber to cover up those big
cover
gaps.
it all up.
So, you're looking at that research. See, even your floor coverings,
Yes.
around your kitchen. Look for quality at a good price. And go down to all the different flooring places. You might have, like the overlay click-clack flooring. You might go vinyl, lino. It could be tiles, whatever. But work on what's in your budget.
Yes.
Remember, when you get price of square metre per tile, that's not the install price.
No, that's right. And you have to allow extra for cutting and breakage and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's like an extra 10 or 15% or something.
Yep. And all that. And and if you're doing tiles, and if the floor's a bit, how you going, they might have to put a cement sheet over your existing flooring to accommodate, to get it right. All sorts of fun.
Yeah.
One of our guys, he was doing some renos, and they pulled up the lino. Then they found the cork floor.
Yes.
Then they found the overlay, which went over. And then underneath, solid myrtle flooring.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, yeah. But all these multiple layers in the kitchen. Got sick of that one, put something new on top. Got sick of that, put something new on top.
I got better than that. I had in my bathroom carpet.
What's wrong with that?
And then lino. And then beautiful boards underneath.
Yes. Remember the old carpet? We've spoken about this real short pole carpet used to have in kitchens and bathrooms.
Oh, awful stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't real good. I was joking when I said that's all right. It's like the shag pole around the spa baths.
No, that was bad.
And then it wraps up the wall. Yeah, great. Yeah, so there's some tips.
Yeah, okay. So the take-homes, like you said about the roofline.
Keep it simple.
Yes.
Your designer or architect can help you with choosing the right roof and what's going to work with your house the best for the most cost-effective, and that is one of the most expensive components. Keep the shape simple.
Yes.
Standard sizes. Don't get fancy schmancy.
Yep.
If you're on a tight budget, get your best bang for your buck.
Yes.
And then do your research on choosing products that are going to be cost effective. Also, if it's only small, look at the things you want to do in the future. Talk to your designer or architect. Add the extra bits that you require. Sheds, decks, pergolas, roof, whatever the heck it is. So then you can go through as one permit, and then that permit parts can be completed. You can reactivate it over a period of time. Now, be aware this is in Tasmania. I'm sure there's rules available in the other states to be able to do this. But then you're going to get better value for the money that you spend with the designer and the consultants and then the council.
Okay, excellent. We might wrap it up there, folks. Thanks for listening to the Building Design Primetime Podcast.
Catch us later.
You're listening to the Building Design Primetime Podcast.